Hey everybody, this is Nick Neacsu at Real Talks, and before the next episode starts, just want to give an answer to a lot of people who are asking me, what software do I use to create my podcast? And the platform that I use is Anchor.fm. It's absolutely free. It has a huge reach, so it'll actually reach out to Apple, it'll reach out to Google, and it'll reach out to Spotify and other platforms. So those platforms pick up your podcast, so you have maximum exposure to anybody who is interested in listening to your podcast. As well, if you're absolutely lucky, there will be companies that will reach out to you and might want to sponsor your podcast. You might get paid for something that you love to do. So if you are interested in starting your own podcast, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And here we go to the next episode, and thank you for your time.
Welcome to Real Talks, the Realtor Life. This is where we talk to real agents about their story and their journey in real estate. We'll discuss their beginnings, their struggles, and their ultimate successes. We peel back the layers and deliver a behind-the-scenes conversation that you, the listener, can find inspiration. My name is Nick Neacsu. My intention is to share the authentic realtor life.
Hey everybody, this is Nick Neacsu with Real Talks. I'm here with John Ryan, who is one of the top, if not the top, realtor in Whistler, British Columbia. And this is episode 12. John, thank you for being on the show.
Thanks, Nice to be here.
Yeah, so John, you have a very interesting story, but first let's just talk about your career. So how long have you been in the business for?
I've been in Whistler selling 30 years, and I started, did 3 years back in Mississauga, Oakville in Ontario, where I grew up.
Right. And why did you get into real estate?
My dad was in real estate. He was still selling when he died at 83, so I kind of grew up in a real estate family, and he tried to talk me out of it, but when I finished college, it was just kind of a natural progression, and never looked back.
So what did you take in college?
Business.
Business,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're originally from...
born in Toronto, raised in Mississauga. Kind of right on the border of Mississauga and Oakville.
Right, and then when did you come to Whistler?
Late 80s, 88. I started May of 88 at Whistler Real Estate.
Whistler Real Estate. So you came from Ontario, landed in Whistler, and you decided I want to be in real estate, or...
No, I was in real estate in Mississauga.
Okay.
I'd ski bumped here before I started. Before I started into real estate, so kind of always was in my blood, Whistler. Working hard and doing actually quite well for a young guy in Mississauga, and then just couldn't get the mountains out of my system, and made the move. So came out and spent 4 months ski bumming again, and then started in May of 88, and here we are.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
So this was a plan, or this was a feeling, or how did you make that decision?
My mom, she's passed away, but my mom years ago found a letter that I had written when I was ski bumming out here, saying that, so it was late teens, and this letter was basically complaining that I was surviving on Kraft dinner and rice-a-roni, and that all I wanted was to live in Whistler, to have a really nice house, and to be the top realtor. And I never remember writing the letter, but she found it in a box of stuff, and so I guess it was in there somewhere. I don't remember writing the letter.
So what prompted you to write that letter?
Well, most of it was complaining that I was starving, so I was trying to get my parents to send me some money, and then I guess the passion of Whistler, I just had fallen in love with it, and went back, and it's just a natural progression to get into the business, and did well. Just was kind of did what I was told, and that was go door knock every day and phone canvas every night, and early 20s making six figures, and
wow,
it was some good times, and it was a great market back there at the time, and kind of hit it right, and then left just as it kind of had peaked, and moved here, and when I moved here, there was only 14 agents in town.
Wow.
And so I started doing mail-outs and stuff that nobody was doing, and everybody thought I was crazy, and before I knew it, I couldn't handle the amount of listings I had.
No kidding.
Now there's 160 agents in town. And
yeah, wow, that's a lot of agents for Whistler.
It's the amount of volume we do, though. It's
It's enough.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's fine. So you actually, I don't know, with maybe knowing it or not, you wrote an affirmation.
Yeah,
you put it out there without even knowing
without
it.
Even
you wanted all. Now you can afford all the KD in the world.
Yeah.
And whatever.
I used to go to Army and Navy in the city, and you could get 3 boxes for 99 cents. I remember.
There
that.
You go.
Yeah. So
you hustled to survive.
Yeah.
You were door knocking, mailers, open houses.
We'd leave a little thing on the doorknob that said, "Sorry, I missed you," with your details, and then we'd keep track. And at night, after dinner, we'd go back and phone canvas for 3 hours. I had a buddy, one of my best friend, and his dad was a top producer in real estate. So he just told us, this is what you got to do. And we just did it. Yeah, we did. We worked our butts off, and we're very competitive with each other, and it worked.
So you had a group in your real estate firm that you guys worked together with, trying to build the business together, or like back then?
Just a buddy that
Just a buddy, okay.
One side of the street, I take it. We didn't share any listings or anything.
Yeah.
It was just dog eat dog, but it was just this competitive. Okay, you take that side, I'll take this side. It's half the time we flip a coin because we started getting superstitious on which side of the street we started on. Yeah.
So you actually had an accountability partner, effectively.
Yeah, and very competitive.
And very competitive.
And when you're young and all of a sudden you start making, back then that was a lot of money, and I liked it.
So how old were you when you started real estate?
Early 20s.
Early 20s. And then your first year was a struggle, or did you see the results immediately?
It was definitely more of a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Like you'd have a month where, oh my God, I did 4 deals, and then 5 weeks later it's like, God, I can't get a deal. And I quickly learned that when you get busy, don't stop doing what got you busy. That's one of the biggest things I learned early was, oh God, I did 4 deals, and all of a sudden I wasn't door knocking as much as I had been, right? And then you start looking back, okay, where did those deals come from? And it's like, okay, get back on the phones or get back knocking. So
you went around, you started off with, literally hungry for food. Yeah. And now you explain what you have right now. You have a beautiful office, you have a great team. Yeah. So tell me about what you created. I've
got a great team. I've got 3 Aussie girls and a girl from Brit. So I would say last man standing, but I'm sitting here in a wheelchair, so I'm not even doing that.
We'll talk about it in a bit.
Yeah. So 2, Susie and Danny are licensed, and then I've got full-time kind of admin, office manager, and then I've got a great marketing girl that just focuses totally on marketing. And, we do great business. We have lots of fun. I try and compensate them well, and
everybody's happy.
Yeah, we have a really good team.
Yeah,
I think in a lot of ways we're the envy of the real estate community up here. The girls, I don't have much turnover. Susie's been with me since 2007. Chrissy, who used to be with me, was with me 18 years, and then she started having kids, and so she went and started that new career as a mom. But so I'm quite fortunate that I think have fun, treat people right, and compensate them well, and and we do well.
So do you keep track of your sales statistics, like how many units and doors you've sold in your career?
The girls would actually honestly know it better than I, but I know I've done over 4,000 deals in Whistler.
Wow.
We do, in our good years that we've just kind of in or coming through, we were kind of 120 ends, 140 ends, and kind of 275 million plus in sales. So
big numbers.
Yeah,
big numbers.
Yeah.
And you were involved in projects as well. So in the 90s, and as Whistler was growing, you were working hand in hand with developers creating Whistler effectively.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Actually getting
your vision,
to say this is what we should build, and it was kind of, I won't say it was the wild, wild west, but it we were kind of somewhat learning as we're going, and it was the glory days. It was some fun times, and I've done over 50 projects in Whistler, so right from little lot subdivisions right up to the Four Seasons Hotel and Four Seasons private residence and kind of everything in between. So.
Yeah, and you were mentioning when we were talking prior to this recording that your sellouts were incredible. You would be selling out 130 million in 5 hours.
Yeah, we did
lineups.
Yeah, 170 plus at 100 million in the Four Seasons in 5 hours, and the private res was 110 million in 4 hours. 37 residences, and if we had 38, we wouldn't have sold out. It literally was. Yeah, it literally was
like supply and demand met. And that was
it. Was beyond anything. Yeah, it was. We had $25,000 reservation deposits. In the morning, it's like, I think we could probably hit 25, 28 sales.
Right.
And so we had all, time slots when people could pick from around the world. And then we had a group that weren't ready to kind of give a $25,000 refundable deposit. So we just said, book them all at the same time to come to our sales center. And they all showed up at the same time. And it just happened, $3 million plus average. And people were being spontaneous, and
And do you find that people, and with that strategy, people need a little bit of, I guess they need to feel like the decision they're making is good based on what other people want.
Well, and there was people within that room writing contracts that were well known in the Vancouver business community. So,
so if they're doing
instantly, oh my God, if Sam's doing it, well, I'm going to do it, right, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And just
need to reaffirm their decision. Yeah, because people want what they can't have.
100%.
Right.
100%.
So creating that feeling of scarcity and lost opportunity and urgency.
It was
that's
good. Quite something, but we literally, if we had one more, we wouldn't have sold out.
Right. So I find it fascinating, and I appreciate that you're willing to talk about it. John is in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
You have been in a wheelchair for how long?
Since '94.
Since '94, and your business hasn't skipped a beat.
It really didn't. No,
yeah.
I munched myself pretty good in a car accident.
Yeah.
Late '94. Came back to the office in April of '95.
Okay.
And was like, I'm going to be number one in the valley.
Wow.
In '95, and so that was the goal, and I achieved it. And
that's
I just kind of in a mountain town, it's kind of crazy that you're in a wheelchair, but. I get around, obviously we have a lot of condo buildings and stuff, which is great, but even in the houses, the girls carry me up and down stairs, and we make it happen. I always tell this story, probably 5-7 years ago, we had a call, the guy liked our website, going to list his house, so we go, and it's kind of an older cabin over in Brio. We get there, and there's over 65 stairs to get to the front door. This guy had no idea I'm in a wheelchair.
Right.
And so we get up and knock on the door, and the guy answers it. And his face, I knew I had the listing as soon as he opened the door, because he's just like, oh my God, how's this guy in a wheelchair at my front door?
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So did you find that you were going down your path, and you had that life altering a moment, and then your ability to adapt. That's an extreme version of adaptation, especially in real estate on a mountain in snow.
Yeah.
It's like you would never think that anybody could actually do that, but then to see that it can be done, it must impact other people, especially people who've been through similar scenarios, in a positive way. You must have impacted so many people without even knowing it, just by doing what you're doing.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, I always was quite open with the rehab centers and hospitals that I would go down and talk if anybody was struggling, kind of thing, right? Because if you told me the day before, if you told me November 10th, 1994, you'd never walk again, I probably would have said, shoot me. Like, that would have been my reaction. But until you're dealt the cards, you don't know how you're gonna react and deal with it. And I instantly was like, what can I still do? Can I still drive a car? Can I still have sex? Can I what can I still do?
Right.
I really kind of didn't focus on that I couldn't play I love beach volleyball back in the day, right? And so those days are over, right? So I just kind of focused on what can I still do, and a lot of good sports out there. I've done the New York Marathon 3 times, San Diego Marathon. I wheeled across Canada in '99.
Oh, no kidding!
So that was the ultimate marathon. That was almost 9,000 kilometers.
Yeah.
Raising money for Spinal Research. So just kind of I used to be the guy that would write the checks to charities. Then I started, I'm going to raise money doing things, right? So we have a $6 million chair for spinal cord research that we did, and we wheeled across in '99. So yeah, so just kind of, it's just a different path. And I'm 6'4". I went from 6'4" to, I always say the 4'6", but I think I'm more around 5 feet in the wheelchair, just under. But it's life, and I don't even really think about it. Like, it's just become, it's what's that? It's coming on 25 years actually. Well,
right.
In November it'll be 25.
So you must not really give a lot of sympathy to people who are saying, well, I can't do this because this, and this. And it's like,
probably not the right guy
to talk to, right? To ask for, to whine to, right? But
sometimes you don't even have to say anything, right? You just give the look and they're like, oh God, what am I saying?
Yeah, what am I doing? I can do this. So after the accident, you picked it up, and it sounds like you're a guy that once you get something on your mind, it's going to happen regardless. You will get to that goal.
I'm a big dreamer.
Yeah.
And it always starts with a dream for me, 100% in everything, whether it's, having that house in Hawaii or, the house, whatever you're living in, or the car or the trip or whatever. It all starts with a dream, right?
Right.
And, I'm usually quite fortunate I get there.
So are you able to take that dream and break it down and how you're going to get there, or is it more emotional where you're just going to look at that dream and just focus on that dream until you get there?
Yeah, I'm not, as I said, I'm not a very analytical guy. So
right.
It's a lot of emotion, and I think we all know what gets you what you want. Especially in business and that, it's not rocket science. That it's putting in the hours and hard work and talking to as many people as possible, and having knowledge and being ethical, and it's and it's a very relationship driven business, which I love people and get along great with people,
right?
And, so it definitely a lot of it comes naturally.
And you're 30 years in the business, you're saying?
30 in Atlas Real Estate.
Wow.
Yeah.
And do you find yourself still working the same amount of hours?
Yeah. You know what? It's technology has sure made it nice that
right.
You can weekends you can still be totally engaged in doing things, but not necessarily in here at 9 a.m. like I used to be on a Saturday or a Sunday, right? And a lot of times I was the only guy in here.
Yeah.
But still. A lot of people think I should kind of disconnect a little more, right, and get a little more balance. But it's a work in progress.
You're doing pretty well.
Work in progress.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. So, do you have a lot of young agents that come up to you and ask for advice?
Yeah.
And what would you generically give these young agents? What type of advice would you give them?
Probably my biggest thing is product knowledge. Like, I think if you know what you're talking about, you're suddenly not selling or sounding like you're selling, if you just have that confidence in what you're talking about. So that's probably my number one thing. And, focus on a neighborhood that you like, or, focus on buildings that you like, and just become that expert in that. And then from there, it'll just grow to more and more. But, in this town, it's crazy, but I still think open houses work, and you can now go to an open house and be totally connected. So why sit in the office being distracted when you can go sit,
do your work at the open house, and then somebody comes in and present.
Yeah. We don't participate in letting other agents advertise our listings and that, but I'm 100% if you ever want to sit one of my listings and do an open house all day long.
Right.
So if you're new, go sit. You can go sit at a $20 million house or a $400,000 condo or whatever, right? So
incredible.
But it is a numbers game. You got to get out there, and you got to meet people. And
right.
The vast majority of people you'll see at open houses here in Whistler already own in Whistler, so they're either upgrading or downgrading their situation.
Right.
So there's always listings sitting out there. But, chances are they're not going to buy what you're sitting in, but you're going to make that contact.
And do you get approached from a lot of young realtors who want to start in the Whistler market?
Yeah.
You do?
I do. Yeah. I get taken to a lot of lunches over the years. Yeah. But it's not an easy market to break into up here. I don't think maybe it's an easy in this day and age to break into any market.
Yeah.
But,
It's true.
It's there's 150, 160 of us up here, and I bet you 10 of us still do 80+% of the business.
Yeah. Right. And would you? People talk about leverage in real estate, especially when you're a young realtor. Would you recommend a young realtor who's starting off, find a mentor, learn that way, have somebody they can go to and ask questions about, and really learn the business itself? Because you can get stuck behind a desk learning, but you don't know what to do.
People get stuck in front of a computer justifying their day because they're throwing out the odd email here or there or whatever, right? Yeah, no, it's...
So hammering the doors?
Yeah, to be coached in that, or, even to... I'm not adverse to, I've never had it because my girls all kind of are, they're just on our team kind of thing, but...
Right.
You see a lot where people start out and get on a team, and get a couple of years under their belt and then
do their own
on their own. And that's not a bad process. And
right.
I've never had it. I've never had anybody leave, and go and try and do it on their own. So maybe I'm paying them too much. I don't know.
We won't say anything.
Yeah, I know. They're worth every cent.
Yeah, that's right. So you have everything here in terms of you're at the top of the industry in Whistler,
mm-hmm.
and probably you're up there in all of Canada as well, even North America for the volume that you do. You have a great team. So what motivates you to do more? Because you're goal oriented, mm-hmm. so there must be something else that's keeping you there. Is it?
I love what I do.
Yeah.
You meet incredible people. In Whistler, we're very, very spoiled because we meet people from all over the world. A lot of times you're their only contact or connection to Whistler, so then you become friends.
Right.
I always say I could travel the world and just have an incredible year trip in that, and just visiting clients around the world. Right.
Right.
So very fortunate that way.
And do you do that?
Not as much as I should. We're going to do a big one in Hong Kong this year because we've done a ton of business out of Hong Kong. So we're actually going to do a bit of a dog and pony show, but host some big dinners and events just as a thank you, to the clients.
And do you find that do you advertise in Hong Kong for Whistler real estate, or is it more referral based?
We focus a lot on our website. We get over 100,000 visits a year.
Wow.
So it's you kind of pay to play with Google, and so I make sure that we're at the top internationally, not just in Canada. So if you're in the UK or Australia or Hong Kong, we should be popping up.
And do you find that's a big part of your business growth?
Yeah.
Is the online presence?
Very much. It helps with getting listings for sure.
Yeah.
The girls are right into Instagram right now.
Yeah.
So we're working with some of the bigger boys with Instagram, and that's been good.
It's helping you out. Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough to figure out kind of where the business always comes from. I got a really good buddy who's the top RE/MAX agent, I think in the world now. Jordan Cohen out of just north of LA.
Oh yeah,
great guy. And he told me the story. He goes, say, Johnny, you got to get on Instagram. And he goes, tells me a story. And he's had lots of deals directly from Instagram. But he goes, the one that he loved was he just listed this cool place in Malibu for $8 million, call it, and gets a call, and this guy's like. I really want to see this house, and shows that this is the house. I love it. And so Jordan afterwards, like where did you, just curious, where did you see it? He goes, it's a funny story. He goes, I was cooking pancakes that day I met you, and my 9-year-old had a friend on a sleepover, and I'm cooking pancakes, and he's like, hey, Mr. Smith, you should buy this house on Instagram here, and shows him the house on Instagram, and that's how we contacted Jordan. Yeah, a 9-year-old.
Wow. So even though you might think their target market isn't on Instagram, well, the kids are.
Yeah.
And they're following
he had another guy out of Poland or something that ended up buying a lot, and then while he was building, he needed a house. He went and bought a house for $5 million from him while he was building, and that was directly from Instagram. And Jordan's got a huge following. Like he does.
He's a big boy. Yeah. Are you finding that you are people are engaging with your Instagram account right now?
Yeah, more and more. Danny on the team is it's her baby.
Yeah, that's right.
She loves it. So, but yeah, we're getting like luxury listings picking us up and boss homes and these kind of things. And all of a sudden we're getting 30,000 plus likes and stuff. So yeah, it's
good.
Neat. Yeah.
Good for you guys. That's great.
Yeah.
So you're saying you don't know where the market is or the industry is going in terms of advertising and lead generation, but are you finding that it's moving a lot quicker than it did sort of in the 90s? It's with technology and reach and
it's supposed to make it life easier, and I don't really. Sometimes I question that. When my phone's still going at 11 at night, and you're always connected, right?
You're always connected.
Yeah, like you just can't get away, and I don't even want to know how many minutes I put on this phone a month.
It tells you every month, every week.
I just don't want to know, but it's you get married to it, no question. I don't even turn it off at night because I don't want to miss if there's a call at 4 a.m. coming in from somewhere international. So
wow,
maybe one day.
So you were mentioning you have clients from all over the world. You've created effectively an international brand. I mean, Whistler is right now. What are they ranked in terms of in the world for resort?
It varies on who's doing the ranking, whether it's Ski Magazine and all this. Right? Yeah. So we're always up in the top and
top 3.
Yeah, usually. Yeah. And a lot of times we've been number 1, and it's been a little growing pains with Vail buying Whistler Blackcomb. So I think the whole customer service and that's kind of gone off a little bit,
right?
But as I tell my 14-year-old, change isn't easy. So, got to give them a chance, and we'll pop out the other side. Not that it's terrible, don't get me wrong, but it's
it's just different.
Yeah, we're in a tough times in this town because we need affordable housing. These kids have nowhere to live, so.
Right.
You got restaurants that aren't even open at lunch these days because they don't have staff. They're just burning them out, right?
Incredible.
So they open for dinner and that kind of thing. So. We're in desperate need of.
So you have there's a lot of wealth in Whistler right now, but not a lot of ability to service that wealth.
Very much, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's more the Vail model is they want that higher net worth individual, and they want less lineups and charge more. That's my understanding of their business model. So
right,
but it's. When customer service, it can be the little things, right? Housekeeping and, when guys pouring your water at a restaurant, if they're, it's just, we're in tough times right now. So, and they're working on it, but it's not something that you can just, create 500 rental apartments overnight. It takes time. There's a process. And
right. So Whistler is its own little economy. I mean, really, it is much different than Vancouver. It is
it's night and day. It truly is. When you get a lot of clients right now, with Vancouver in slower times, thinking that it's inevitable that Whistler will slow down, and I don't think we'll stay as frothy as we were in 15, 16, and 17. But we had no mainland Chinese buying in Whistler, so it like zero. We had one guy that bought 2 houses, and he lives here. He's not even, when kids go to school here.
Right.
And that's it. Like, truly, it's
that's incredible.
Yeah. So what really fueled Vancouver never happened here.
Right.
Yeah. It's a completely different demographic that was buying. So, and currency for sure is helping us right now. That Canadian dollar down is just, the hotels do well. If the Four Seasons is busy, I'm busy because, it's just... It just, there's just a direct correlation with that, and the hotels are rocking it. They're doing incredibly well.
Right, that's fantastic. And you are an advocate of giving back in terms of time, money, and whatnot.
Yeah. I've done a lot of fundraising over the years. I've wheeled across Canada in '99, so we have a $6 million chair for spinal cord research. I-Cord, it's called, down in the city. I used to be the guy that would write checks, and then once I had my car accident, I kind of started asking for checks. Now I'd say I'm kind of back more at writing the checks. But I'm not going to wheel across Canada anytime soon.
That's neat, though.
But I've done a Ride to Conquer Cancer, 3 times, 4 times,
Oh,
3
no
times.
kidding.
Yeah, you know, so things like that. You know, and I have a hand cycle, and and just you know, always giving. Yeah.
So a lot of people that listen to this podcast are young realtors or realtors that are struggling. You know, I think that if anybody was going to struggle on paper, I think it would have been you.
Mm.
So, you know, for all the listeners out there, if you put your mind to it, you can do it.
Oh yeah, very much.
Yeah, it's just mindset.
Yeah,
just
you know, it's
believe in it.
Yeah, and it's not easy. It's
no.
You know, especially if you want to be a top producer and that, you got to work. Like you got to be somewhat married to it, and things will suffer in life because of it. But you know, at some point, I wouldn't trade my life for anything. I love this industry and this profession, and you know, for the most part, there's a lot of great people in it. And, and no day's ever the same. That's my favorite thing. I love that no day is the same, and I love that I don't have to answer to anybody. I can be spontaneous, and if you said, hey, you know what, let's go to Vegas tonight for a couple of nights, I don't have to ask anybody.
You just go.
You can do it.
Just ask yourself.
I love that. You know, obviously, you know, you have to be responsible with your business and stuff and family, but yeah, I do love that it's consistently inconsistent. It's definitely not 9 to 5. It's more 7 to 11. But
so that's one takeaway as well. I mean, you thinking if you may think you're working hard, but the chances are you're probably not working hard enough, or smart enough as well, and doing the right.
Nice balance if you can have the work ethic, but also be smart with it, 100%.
Were there any real?
And I think time. You know, there's no question. The longer you're in this business, the easier it gets because you just continue building up that database, and you're continuing getting more referrals.
Yeah.
You know, I had a call this morning, and within 20 minutes, had listing paperwork going, and I sold the guy a place 20 years ago.
No kidding.
Yeah, you know, and he, you know, is on my invite list to come to our client party, and we send letters to the building he's in, and hadn't talked to him literally in 20 years, and like didn't miss a beat. Just
wow.
You know, so it does get easier over time.
So you follow up consistently with your database.
The girls are very good with our database management, no question.
Right.
Yeah, and you know, and if I look at, you know, top 200, top 500, you know, client kind of lists. So much of that came back to doing open houses back in the day when we were doing projects. Insane.
So open houses is a critical element.
It was back in the day. You know, I don't do them now. You know, I literally don't have the time to do it.
Right.
But I can sure trace a large percent of my database back to those people, and then referrals from those people, and it just
snowballs from there. No pun intended in Whistler.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think it's a commonality that open houses are how people build their database. It's the best place to meet people that are ready and willing to talk about real estate, not necessarily buy or sell right away, but just talk.
Yeah.
And
it just you get better at talking. You do get better at everything when you're talking to potential clients. Like it's just you're constantly training.
Yeah.
Right? And now you can do it with technology. God, back in the day, you know, when I was doing open houses, you had a pager. You didn't even have cell phones.
That's right.
And you know, so you were stuck for, you know, however many hours, you know, and we used to do with projects and stuff, we used to do 363 open houses a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, we took Christmas Day off and New Year's Day off. Other than that, we had open houses going, right? And
wow.
Maybe it's old school that I'm still talking about open houses. I don't know, but in this
I think it's important. I mean, there's some things that are fundamentals that won't change in real estate.
And you can sit in an open house and you have your phone and you have your computer so why be in the office being distracted?
So you're saying every single day of the week you're doing open houses? Makes sense.
Religiously.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why? It'll reduce your office fees.
Well, well, you know, when got back in the day, we used to pump out a ton of business doing them. Like, you know, it's
incredible.
Yeah.
While we wrap up here, I ask every agent this question. What single piece of advice would you give your younger self on day one when starting your business in real estate?
Oh my God. What advice? Yeah, you know what? The more people you talk to, the more business you're going to do. Like, it's that simple. Like, yeah, don't hide behind emails, even though emails weren't back then. But yeah, like, get out and talk to people, meet people.
Right.
Yeah, just promote yourself.
And tell everybody what you do.
And be ethical and work hard.
Yeah, that's a really good point. There's no skipping steps.
No.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice when you're not hungry, because you can just be true to everything. I think there's a lot of newer people that are somewhat desperate to do deals and maybe get out of the comfort zone of being ethical, and that, which is a shame. But,
right.
Yeah. And then back to the product knowledge. Knowing what you're talking about is key to life.
Right.
It truly is.
Perfect. What a great story.
Nice.
That's incredible. That's inspiring. I want to go do an open house in Whistler. Thanks very much. Thanks, John Ryan. And John, how can people get a hold of you? How can they find you on social media? What's your website?
Realestatedwhistler.ca and .com. You Google John Ryan Whistler. I better pop up at the top. I pay for it.
All right, John. Thanks so much, and everybody, for listening, and have a wonderful day.